How to Beat the Streets podcast, man. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm thankful that y'all will have me on this, this lovely podcast. And let me explain something to you. I've been to a lot of places. This joint, I was in about a month ago. I had a meeting with Amazon. I was at their new studios, podcast studios. It's like it's something like you've never seen in your life, right? And so when I walk in here, it reminds me of that. Their stuff is a little like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stories up than this, but this is great because we never recorded on nothing like this. We never had the whole hookup y'all got this level. We never even done nothing on this level. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this is good because it's good energy because when kids coming in, they like, damn, this is next level. But we always want to remember that nothing supersedes the content. Like you can have the greatest shit in the world, and if the show content and the direction of it ain't popping, it ain't gonna work. But this just a good for to be starting off. This shit look good.
We appreciate that, man.
Good.
You gotta put the claps on for that.
This shit look good.
And we definitely wanted give you your flowers, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for what you're about to do for the students.
No problem.
Thank you for what you're doing for the culture, man. Every podcast, all of the videos you put on YouTube help change my life, help change a lot of other brothers out here lives. So we just want to give you your flowers and say thank you for being here today.
That's everything.
Now, on this show, How to Beat the Streets, is all about giving gems, talking to the youth, talking to the community, just about ways that we could overcome poverty, ways that we could overcome some of these circumstances that we face every day as minorities. So we always start with a quote. The quote we got for you today is, "The day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. Be patient and stay the course." What does that quote mean to you?
It means a lot to me. Me spending most of my life in prison, in institutions, 5 years juvenile, 20 years penitentiary. It was like that seed, sometimes it get planted in some moments, in your darkest moments. And you really got to sit back when you plant the seed and you got to just you got to be patient. Because you know what? I text somebody today. I said, patience is the main ingredient to winning. Because a lot of times we live in this time right now where it's right now. But it wasn't always like that. It depends on your age range. Me, I'm 43. So it was like, I grew up in a time where, you had to wait. We didn't have no cell phone. You might had a beeper. Somebody had to beep you. And then you had to get to a pay phone, had a pocket full of quarters. Bam. You know what I mean? You good. It was, and some people you get back with, but nobody can. I think that contact it really forced a lot of people's hands, and it made a lot of people impatient. The fact that I could call you directly, I could catch you directly, I could catch you right now in real time. It ain't no wait there. So once the wait was removed, once the waiting line was removed in life. I think everybody became impatient and everybody want right now. So that's why if a person drop a seed in the soil, it's like, I'm trying to eat some watermelon tonight. Like I'm trying to eat some onions tonight. Like I want some greens tonight. Like, so, and then everything is instant. If you look at Instagram, I need it, that means right now. So now everybody's life is programmed and now everybody's life is instant. So what that do is that make people think like I ain't waiting for nothing. If I look at my stuff, when I was in prison, I started putting the plans together. But even when I put the plans together and I said I was ready to win, I was ready to approach life in a different way, or I was ready to do whatever, even though I said I was ready, even though all that was there, I still had years to go. So all I did was as a part where at the time when the seed get planted, you got to start making love to the soil. Before you even see the sunlight. So I still had to figure it out. I still had to, and that's what it was for me, just figuring it out, add more levels to my approach and what I was going to do once I got out. Because when I was in prison, that's the first time I had really tapped into technology. I had a legal cell phone. First I had an iPod Touch and a wireless clear hotspot. And that's when I got introduced to the game. And that's what really turned me up, just information,
I definitely hear that, because even for me, I went away to college. My father got shot and killed when I was 8 years old. Mm-hmm. My grandfather spent more than 15 years in prison. And when I came, being outside, running around, doing anything that you could do, to make money and stuff like that. But I decided to go to college. I got my bachelor's degree. Then I got my master's degree. And right now, I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for the last 8 years of my life. And I'm also an independent hip hop artist and doing my thing with music, podcasting, as you can see, but I'm still not where I want to be. And I feel like that's how it takes time. But a lot of times people don't never show the process. They always talk about 0, the bottom, or 100. But in between, we never get to see people actually go through the whole entire process of success. And that's why I'm happy that you know mentioned that to the people. So thinking about when we get into this How to Beat the Streets podcast, getting into your personal story, I want to know, like, when was it that point in your life where you knew like you had to beat the streets? Because I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about that. So when was that point in your life where you knew, like, you know what, I gotta get up, I gotta get out this circumstance, I gotta like really change my whole lifestyle and, you know, change for the better?
I was in the penitentiary still doing time, and I realized I was in jail for being somebody that I wasn't. I was in jail because, you know, in the ghetto and in the hood, we're extremely impressionable. So by us being, you know, impressionable and all that stuff, we just want to be down. We got to be down because in the streets, success and jewelry, clothes, cars, that's God, and people worship that. So you know, you like, I got to get that. So a lot of times your hand is forced to be somebody that you're not in order to accumulate these things in order to be accepted by the masses. Now, the one thing that I realized when the ingredients in the street game, right? The ingredients, you have some people that's ingenious in the streets. All I realized is that what made it so easy for me is like, you know what? It ain't 10, 15, it ain't 7, it ain't 4 or 5 things I got to change. All I got to do is change one thing. And the one thing that I had to change was I had to move from the street game to the corporate game, because all the ingenuity got, all the hustle, all the grind, all that shit, that like, you take that to corporate America, you're going to spank these boys. And that's what I'm spanking them with. My everyday hustle, get up and grind and all that shit is the same thing I did when I was in the streets, where I'm getting up every day, standing on the corner every day, sell a package. I just removed the street side of it, and I transferred the energy over here to corporate America, over here to making it happen, over here to, social media, over here to giving people, it's just like this. I used to give people game on the street corner growing up, now I give you game on Instagram. But it's a different type of game I'm giving. I used to get you game on, no, this is how we got to go rob and steal, or this is how we got to, bag the coke up, or this is how we got to. Now it's like, nah, bro, this is how you do this, man. So once you switch it up, it's like, all you doing is saying, you know what I was doing is illegal shit, this shit wasn't working. Let me go ahead, legitimize my hustle, go ahead and LLC this shit, go give me a tax ID number. Now I can get some real money. Now I can play with real money. You know what I'm saying? Because it go from, okay, we didn't know nothing about credit scores and none of that. We didn't know nothing about the real game of life. So I'm like, we down here playing on the street level because to us, everything is cash.
Right.
So by everything being cash, we just like, I need some cash money. We not knowing, damn, okay, I got 2 different companies, 2 LLCs. Okay, I got 760 credit score. Oh, damn. So you mean to tell me y'all would give me 100,000 line of credit for this? Y'all give me American Express for this? Y'all give me this for this, all for this? And you mean for both of these companies? Yeah, you get that. Yeah, you go play with OPM. Yeah, you trying to do this? You trying to start this car lot? You trying to start this? Grab these? No, we gonna just offer your credit. You could go get a couple 100 bands.
And that's not really taught even in school.
Run the play up and say, you know what? I'm going to grab and I know people that walk around here, that didn't know. Like, I knew drug dealers coming up. I knew some big time dudes. They had money, but now I know dudes that never sold drugs in their life. They deal with businesses, and they walking around with $300,000-$400,000 worth of credit in their pocket.
That's correct.
That's
right.
big. Now, even to jump into the trendy question of the day. So the trendy question of the day, right now we in the Bronx, and I know you from North Philly, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of gun violence going on, city to city, state to state, right? And it seems like the shooters is getting younger and younger. So we got you in the building. I wanted to ask you, like, is there any hope? If it is hope, what can we do to, like, just kind of decrease the gun violence going on in the city?
I think I always believe in hope. I always believe tomorrow is going to be better than yesterday. What happened is, I'm going to tell you about the transition. If you look at the street culture, you say how to beat the streets. Now, the streets go 2 ways. The streets is also an educational point too. If you look at, like, it depends on, I'm not even going to say it depends on where you live. If you look at any ghetto, when the 90s hit, you look at the 90s. You look from the 80s to the 90s. You had street officials. You had referees. And they was the OGs. And it was a hierarchy of street culture. Whether you was in a gang or whether you was in the city, there was no gang, but it was OGs that you respected. And I know my generation respected the OGs in the 80s, respected the OGs in the 90s. But as you start to see, it was a heavy, I'm talking about lift in people going to prison, OGs, going to prison, getting killed, start becoming dope fiends. When you get high, the respect law. You ain't in the street, the respect get laws. Mm-hmm. You die, the respect get laws. So now who is educating the street culture? So it went from, in the streets as we know it, it went from, and I'm not saying there's no glorification, I'm just breaking it down so people get a little understanding of where how the shooter was born. It went from the dude that got all the money in the neighborhood, the dudes that got money, they was the big name. You can have a name like, if you the dudes that got the money, they was the name. They ran the fucking culture. They made the rules. They ran everything when it came to the reality of life and what we look at as cool, what we look at as thorough, whatever. They was looked at like, well, praised, like, ah. But as they start falling off, people start falling off, and there wasn't no officiating going on in the street culture, a lot of recklessness happened. And then, bang, here come YouTube. YouTube came in and through, Chicago and all these, really Chicago. YouTube came in, and what they did on YouTube with Chicago, they glorified the shooter. They made the shooter on a hierarchy. So now you got young boys that say, I ain't got to get no money. I ain't got to be fly. All I got to do is shoot niggas, and they going to give me props. I'm going to be a demon. I'm going to be the biggest savage. And I'm going to be, within this young world, I'm going to be feared, and I'm going to be put on a pedestal by my people, the opposition, whoever. You know what I mean? It's going to be like, and that changed the whole game. Because, it's easy to grab a gun and just boom, boom, boom. Like, that shit is easy. But it's hard to say, damn, you know what? I got to get this. I got to figure out how I'm going to get these drugs from California. Once I get them, I got to figure out who's going to package them. I got to brand them. I got to put security on the package. I got to organize it. I got to make sure all the money come back. That's a lot of shit you got to do.
It's a business mindset.
And it ain't no business mindset out here no more. It's about, violence. And violence is king. But, you think about it, America was built on violence. You know what I mean? So it's real wild. It's real wild. It's just that I think we made ourselves the biggest enemy of us. So it's just wild. So I believe it's going to be a change. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be a change. And I think programming is important, education is important, and having outlets. A lot of times these kids don't be having outlets because a lot of kids go to the street because they ain't got that shit going on at home. And then you look at the home front, you got a lot of parents trying to relive their second childhood.
Right.
They ain't trying to be no motherfucking parents. Ain't nobody.
Yeah.
So now you got the parents ain't trying to be parents, and then the kids out here like, man, I'm out. A lot of these kids get raised off a phone anyway. As soon as the kid get a certain age, they get the iPad, but then their mom just make sure they got a new iPhone. That's the way you take care of a kid there. Now, here go an iPhone, here go this. Make sure they got that the whole time. You stupid. The iPhone is the new parent. Now they getting all this information from there, and then it been a lot of sisters that I knew. I go to visuals in Philly, and you had a women. They going through, my baby Wallo, my son, I can't believe they killed my son. I had to wait, listen, I'm going to holler at you, Keisha. Maybe wait a day or two, wait till they stop grieving. They call me, come see me, come on, let's go eat lunch out there. Yeah, man, they did my baby like that. Why anybody did them? I said, Keisha, your baby was a fucking animal, man. He was a fucking murderer, man. He was a mass murderer. You just ain't know that. He was a fucking, no, because you was too busy reliving your second childhood, running down Miami, shaking your ass.
That's the reality.
So you don't even know. He's the fucking key. He's top savage. He's top level savage.
Right.
You don't even know that because you don't even know your child because you don't even talk to the little nigga.
Oh.
You do what I'm saying? So a lot of times it be this disconnect, and then as soon as somebody, I can't believe they killed my baby. No, your baby wasn't a baby. Your baby was a grown man. He was an annihilator out here.
Right, he was bugging.
That nigga was out here erasing. He was an eraser.
Mm-hmm.
So it really start with that mentality, and that's a lot like, as you can see, walking around the school building, what we trying to do here, even with this podcast, like we got a lot of the youth that watch this podcast, and that's what we want them to start to like change that mentality, because working hard, even someone like me, like I want somebody like me to be in position because it makes sense. Like I come from, living in the projects. I already told you my pops got killed, all those circumstances, but I still got up, did what I had to do, bachelor's, master's, got that behind my belt, and still, striving for success. But often they don't like put people like me in that type of limelight, because I'm not going to say I was shot, no felonies, none of that. And that should be glorified, but they don't really glorify that because that mentality is actually much harder. It's harder to say no. It's harder to walk away from gangs, drugs, all that, and continue to push forward. And it takes time. Like, my salary started out at $50,000, and it takes year after year, all the way till you get to that 100,000 mark. It'll take 10 to 12 years sometimes, but nobody really want to wait. So just thinking about your whole life story though, looking at your Instagram, looking at $1 million worth of game, right? If we could take 3 like key gems from your personal life story, what would be those 3 gems that all of the youth, all the listeners to the show could take away from Wallo's story? Those 3 key gems.
Well, what you went through don't have to define you. You
That's
know what I mean?
one.
That's number one, because a lot of times we go through something that we become that. Like when I was in jail, I was in inmate circumstances, but I ain't no fucking inmate. You see what I'm saying? That's how I looked at it. I wasn't no inmate. I wasn't going for that. I wasn't going to take that title and box myself out. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't going to do all that. Go, you can let him in. You can let him in. And they don't care about none of that shit. It ain't got to be, I mean, it ain't got to be quiet and all that. This shit is a podcast. You know what I mean? We just some hood niggas talking. You know what I mean? I mean, it ain't got to be all that shit. The whole thing is like,
Respect.
I knew that, that, and a lot of times in the ghetto, we become what we going through. We'll take on the title. Okay, you might be getting high right now, but that don't mean you know, you're a fiend. We become that. We'll take ownership of that even after the shit, and you know, we ain't living in that space no more. I learned that, and another thing I learned is nothing work but work. Like all that shit, you trying to finesse. I'm gonna stand there somebody that's grinding. I'm gonna stand there somebody that's shine. I don't care how many celebrities you stand around. I don't care how many. That ain't gonna decorate the tears of your bank account. You're not gonna come up like that. You got to put some fucking work in. This is like the street game. Like no, you got to put your own work in over here. This ain't no you gonna get credibility or you gonna get some finances based off of, and that's what we live in now. We live in a picture taking world where everybody just want to take pictures or be around somebody that's winning, and it's like no, he put or she put that work in. You ain't putting no work in. You know what I mean? And out here, you only eat what you kill.
Right.
And that's the reality of life. That's just like you my man. I'm on the block every day. But you coming here getting 60, 70, 100,000 a year to work, and I'm benefiting. No, when you go get your groceries, they ain't got nothing to do with me in my house. I still got to figure out how to take care of my house. So nothing work but work. All that finessing, you can make it look good. You can have 1,000 followers, 1,000 likes on Instagram. That shit don't mean nothing, man. If you don't know how to transition that shit into money, you in trouble.
Right.
You know what I mean? Number 3, there's only one you out here. And I think people don't know how to connect with that. What happened is we become so obsessed with people's lives on social media that we start abandoning ours. We say, oh no, I don't want to be me. And we start, I know everybody got a friend here or homie here that every time you see this person, they somebody different based off what they've been watching this week on Instagram.
Yep.
On social media, or a rap song or some shit. Now they, you know what I mean? You got the homie that one day he a tough guy, the next day he a pimp, the next day he a drug lord, the next day he a scammer, the next day he a rapper, the next day he a motherfucking producer, the next day he a club promoter, he throw parties. Slash Gordon. Right. That's Slash Gordon. The boy is just Slash. You know what I mean? Because he don't know who he want to be. Based off of what he's seeing, and it ain't based off. I understand if just somebody, you're cool. If you a kid and you growing up, you cool. You ain't gotta rush nothing because you chill trying to figure it out. But once you become an adult and responsibilities hit, and you got babies, you got a woman and all that shit, all that Slash Gordon and freestyling shit, that shit ain't gonna work, dog. Especially if you slashing on shit you never monetize.
Right.
You talking about, yeah, I'm a DJ. You a DJ? Fuck D party. I knew you my whole life. You ain't never DJ no party. No, that's the wave, bro.
Because you can say whatever now.
I'm DJ. Yo, yeah, people be having all type of shit in their bio. I'm a DJ / stripper / I sell weed on the side / I rap. It just be a bunch of slashes. And you be like, what we doing here?
All right, I hope y'all was listening, people. Those are some powerful keys that you could take away and apply to your life. Now, I'm a 7th grade math teacher, and the kids was hyped today. I was telling them it's the last day of school. I'm telling them, yeah, I'm about to interview Wallo's going up.
They knew me?
Yeah, they know. They know.
That's shocking.
You be jumping, because one, the one of the kids is like, oh, that's the guy that be coming out in the rain, bugging out.
Yes,
so they knew you from that. So what they told, so I was like, what question y'all got for Wallo? And they was throwing different questions out there. But the best one I got, this young lady asked me, she said, can you ask him, how do you grow an organic fan base with barely any money to market your product?
Well, I never had no money. Like if you look at my stuff, like I'm gonna show you something. Like I just was. You gotta number one, you gotta make love to the algorithm, and I was a person that never your activity. No, this is
that right algorithm. That's a big word today. You gotta
make. All right, here go my insights. Let me show you some shit. Let me see. Accounts reached. Where is it at? Where the fuck is this at? All right, so you say.
That algorithm is important, people.
Listen, if you look at this, right? In the last 90 days, this account's reach. And you see right here, you see where it says 0% from ads?
Yep.
Meaning I don't
You ain't putting no money into it.
So you if you look, you see 12 million.
Yeah, is that 12 million?
Yeah, 12 million accounts reach.
Okay.
And then you'll go down here. You'll go down here and you'll see how many impressions is that?
Oh, 171 million?
All just for me being me. Like, you gotta understand this.
Hold on. Where did you start though? Like, did you start with like?
I came right out of the penitentiary.
Did you start with like 10 people, then 5 people, and just kind of grew?
This what happened. First, I started this page right here, Wallo 267.
Yeah.
I started this in prison. The reason I put 267 on it is because this is how it all came about. I had a phone. I was in my cell creating the joint. But what happened was somebody had Wallo on social media. So 267, my prison number was DG 2670.
Gotcha.
I took that, but it also was Philadelphia area code 267.
Right.
So I started in the cell and I just used to post shit. Now, and I used to post like people party fly, whatever people had going on in Philly, because I couldn't really post myself because the COs might see it. And then when I came home, I just kept going on. I just kept posting every day. And I wasn't worrying about, like I remember I post 18 people comment. It didn't matter because I was just making love to the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't understand that. What happened is we look for immediate response from the people that we know. We be so focused on them, we don't try to tap into new people. And so when we post something on Instagram, if our family, friends, or people we think cool don't like it or follow it, we stop. And just think about this. If somebody keep posting every day, if you say every day, and that's all I did. If you go back, that's why I never take no posts off my page. Since I came, you got posts from, if you go all the way down my page, you'll see the posts when I was in prison.
And that's a trend right now.
Listen,
people will get famous, they take everything off.
That's stupid because nobody can connect with your journey. Everybody want to connect with somebody that they seen come up that's relatable to them. Like, damn, dude was fucked up like me. Oh man, I could come up. You got that whole piece, and that's what people taking away. If you go all the way down on my page, you will be able to see when I was in prison. You'll see from when I first started, when I just used to post sneakers and all type of shit, you know what I mean? But when I came home, I just rocked it out. I knew everybody ain't for me, but I knew that one thing I knew is 7.9 billion people on this planet. I know it's a couple million people that fuck with me. It gotta be.
I gotta give you that. Wallo,
It gotta be.
check it out. Because it's graduation time.
We gotta go. Yeah.
So we gotta get you downstairs. Travis, give me we gotta go. So we gonna get out of here, sign it off.
Yeah, so I mean, this the very last thing. If you could just give us a book, a podcast, a song, or something that helped you change your mentality, we end with that.
It's a song called Plastic. That's one of my favorite songs by Sampa. I don't know if y'all know who that is.
I don't know.
It's an artist named
They're gonna
Sampa.
do their research.
His name's Sampa. This is my favorite artist in the world. And I heard this song song Plastic when I first came home from prison. I was used to walk the streets of Philadelphia in the rain, and that's a powerful song. It just opened my mind. It's just what he was singing about. It's just that song that always connect me to the
There you
next
got
level.
it. There you have it, people. Make sure you go check that out. Wallo, we thank you for coming out today.
No problem.
How to Beat the Streets podcast.
Yes, sir.
What's the keys to open up the closed doors in life? That grind, that consistent grind, that dedication. Henry Jones once told me, Wallo, just stay the course. No matter what, never think, just stay the course. And that's all you gotta do. Because you'll be moving and your whole grind will be a key. Your grind will be a key. And that'll be a master key to a bunch of doors.
We gon' make it, but first, you gotta say it, take time. You gotta wait and just grind and keep the patience, say it. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. I'ma stay on my grind and be patient. We gon' make it, but first, you gotta say it, take time. You gotta wait and just grind and keep the patience, say it. We gon' make it, we gon' make it. I'ma stay on my grind and be patient. See clarity, bars is like charity. I'm running the race, first place, the game marry me. Yeah. And I said I do. Told you I was gonna make it. Watch that dream come true. Told you I was gonna get it. Now that